Hello everyone and welcome. So today I will be helping you with inequalities on the coordinate plane. So inequalities on the coordinate plane look like, for example, x is greater than 2. So in this case we would have to graph the place where 2 is on the x-axis, since we have this right here, and then we will have to find all the points where it is greater than 2. So we would have to have a line here that since this here is not a greater than or equal to and just a greater than, we would have this as a dashed line. So this here is dashed, and if this was greater than or equal to, then it will just be a solid straight line here. So this would be the line that would separate from the values that are not greater than 2 or less than 2, and the values that are greater than 2. So then we will shade in all the values of x that are greater than 2. So every value from this point forward would fit into this description, which is greater than 2. So similarly, if we had y instead of x, we would have, so if we had y is less than 1, we would, less than or equal to 1, but let's just do that since that is just the one that we have to do. So we would have 1 here on the y-axis, and then we would have to do it less than or equal to 1. And since this isn't equal here, then we would have to have this as a straight solid line, not dashed in this case. And then we would have to fill in all the points that are less than 1 in this case. I'll just put the 1 here, since the one over down here would be covered soon. And since this y is less than or equal to 1, we will have to shade all of these values under here. So like this. And we can also have inequalities that are different, that need to be solved in order to have the variable on only one side. So such as x plus 8 is greater than or equal to 11. So in this case we would have to, I'll just do, how about 3x? Negative 3x plus 8 is greater than or equal to 11. So this seems like a pretty good example, since it covers a lot of the inequalities while solving the inequalities material. So let's just do that. So first we have to subtract 8 from both sides. So over here would be crossed out, over here would be 3. So this will be negative 3x greater than or equal to 3. And then we have to divide both sides by negative 3. This over here will be cancelled, but since this coefficient here is negative, we would have to switch the symbols. And then this over here will be 3 over negative 3, which just equals negative 1. So then this would be x is less than or equal to negative 1. So then we would have to graph this. Alright, so in this case we have negative 1 here. So this over here is negative 1, and then we have to find all of the values of x. Actually that's y to negative 1. This would be the x negative 1 here, and then we would have to find all the values that are of x that are less than negative 1. So since this is a less than or equal to, we would have to make it just a straight filled in line, and it's not dashed. And then since this is asking for all the values of x less than or equal to negative 1, we would have to fill in all the area that is less than or equal to 1 for x. So that would just be all the values here. So just like this. And let's try some problems regarding this. Alright, so let's do the first one, which asks to graph x is greater than 2. So here we have x is greater than 2 right here. So this over here is x equals to 2. So this second line here. And then we would have to find all of the values of x that are greater than 2. And to do that, since we first can see that this is not a greater than or equal to, just a greater than, so this will be dashed. Since it does not include x equals 2, and then we would have to find all the values that are well, greater than 2. So then we would fill those out, and over here's 3, 4, 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 over there. So then we would have to fill in all of this here. And then this would be, this shaded area would just stretch on to infinity, since all of those numbers from 2 to infinite, from 2.0001, so on, all the way to infinity is greater than 2. So that will be how we do the first problem. So let's move on to the second one, which asks to graph y is less than or equal to 1. So y equals 1 is right here on this first little line for the graph. And then we will have to find all of the values of y that are less than that. So we have that as less than or equal to. And since it does include 1, since it's a less than or equal to, we would have to include that when we create the lines. So this will be how it looks like, and then we have to shade all of that in. And then since this is less than, we would do all the values of y that are less than 1. So like this. Alright, let's do the next one, which asks to graph x plus 2 equals 8. So, here, let me do this one. I'll just sort of like switch this up, since these two are pretty much the same and don't really have a thing distinguishing them except for x and y. So I'll just change this to make it a bit more challenging. Alright, so this is but back to this problem. So this is x plus 2 is less than or equal to 8. So we'll have to solve the inequality here, and then use that simplified one to just graph. So x plus 2 is less than or equal to 8. We would have to subtract 2 to both sides. This x is less than or equal to 6. And then this would just be the inequality that we would graph. So x is less than or equal to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this last one here, this second to last one here, and we would have to find all the values of x that are less than or equal to that. So this one is a filled in line, since it does include x equals 6, since it is less than or equal to. So we would have to make it like this, and then we would have to fill in all of the values that are less than 6 for x. So then we would just have to fill like this. Alright, and then this will just be our graph. Alright, let's do the very last one, the fourth one. So this one asks to graph 2y plus 4 is greater than or equal to 4. So let me put it here, 2y plus 4 less than or equal to 4. Alright, so this one is sort of like the last one, but like I said before, we add a coefficient of something else than something other than 1 here, and we also change this inequality here as well. So this one will be -4 to both sides. This will just be 0 as it cancels out. This one will just turn into 0 as well. So that would leave us with 2y was greater than or equal to 0. Alright, and then we would have to divide both sides by 2. So this one crosses out, and this one would just equal 0. So this would just mean that this is y is greater than or equal to 0. So the 0, y is greater than or equal to 0 is just the x-axis in this case. And then we would have to find all of it that is less than or equal to 0, is greater than or equal to 0. So that would mean that we would have a filled in line at the x-axis. So or y equals 0, and then we would have to like just put it into all the space in the first and second quadrants, which is another way to say that. So it's like this, and this does include the x-axis, which is y equals 0. And then that would end our lesson for today. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Thank you. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to post those into the comment section. Thank you.